Welcome back to Two Sports Overtime. I'm Kayler Smith. That's Joey DeBerardino. I thought we could start today with some things that I've recently learned about the area once again in the last couple days that I just didn't know, and more random connections that we have that I wasn't aware of. I learned today that Ben Roethlisberger went to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also learned today that Chris Collinsworth was a Bengal.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's his birthday.
Yeah.
The Bengals posted a picture of him.
Mm-hmm. big wide receiver for the Bengals back in the day. And, Roethlisberger helped Miami kind of get on the map a little bit. But they've been, because we were just recently talking about all the coaches, too, obviously known as the cradle of coaches. So many big names within college and pro football have come through that building.
Sean McVay.
John
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, Mike Brown. It's a massive list, and Miami just in little old Oxford there.
Well, what
pumped
I saw
out
was
some important
that
people.
UNC could become the 6th university that has a player and that has somebody that's won a Super Bowl and a president.
Oh wow,
a U.S. president.
Huh?
Miami was one of them. And it was Ben Roethlisberger.
That's great.
And I don't remember who the president was. I'm sure somebody knows that's watching. But yeah, UNC could become the 6th if Drake May wins the Super Bowl.
Stand by. Let's find out. Who was the president that went to Miami, Ohio? It was Benjamin Harrison, the 23rd president of the United States, the only U.S. president to graduate from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, graduated in 1852, just a few years ago. There you go. Look at that.
So how about that?
Wild.
That was the random nugget I saw on Twitter today, which made me learn that Ben Roethlisberger went to Miami.
Yeah. You know what people's from Miami, like they go to Miami and are what their biggest gripe is, right?
Nope.
The OH next to their name.
Yeah.
And why Miami, Florida doesn't get it. Because they say Miami was a university before Florida was a state.
Correct.
Why does Miami, Ohio have to get the OH? But
yeah.
Here we are.
It is confusing. I mean, even still, sometimes I'll Google like Miami men's basketball and
Hurricanes come up every time.
It'll still come up with the Hurricanes. And like my Google hasn't gotten used to me, I guess, yet.
Nope. Same here. I'm waiting for it to finally, the algorithm to switch. But yeah.
But speaking of the Steelers, sort of, with Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, very much so.
Some big news in the Steel City, and that's that they have found, too soon. Jump the gun.
Where am I going?
That's that they have found.
Nothing yet, right?
Is it not there?
Looks like we don't have it.
All right. It's supposed to be
there. We'll
just go back to us. Mike McCarthy is the next head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is a Pittsburgh native. He got very emotional at his introductory press conference talking about being able to come home and have the opportunity to coach for his hometown team. And he's obviously the predecessor to longtime head coach Mike Tomlin. Mike McCarthy was a head coach for the Green Bay Packers, won a Super Bowl there with Aaron Rodgers, and then was with the Cowboys for 5 seasons. And I covered 3 of those. So I'm very familiar with McCarthy and kind of his style of coaching, I suppose. But it's kind of stirred up some conversation of, is this a reunion of McCarthy and Rodgers? Is this something that would be an incentive for Rodgers to stick around maybe at least one more year? He's still contemplating if he wants to be done and retire or not. He's 41, I think. So, or stay, reunite with the coach that you won a Super Bowl with against none other than the Steelers.
Yeah, right.
In Super Bowl 45. So I don't know. So it's an interesting move. I think every Steelers fan that I know was unhappy about it. I definitely did not see it coming.
No.
We'll see.
I was trying to get a picture of him up here, but our system's being odd. Trying to make that a little bigger, but there you go. So,
it's fine. I'll keep filibustering.
Yeah, there you go. But no, I give up over here, technical issues. But, pretty cool to see him reunited with Aaron Rodgers, just watching the presser too.
And coming home.
Yeah. And asking like in a perfect scenario, like, is Aaron Rodgers being like the quarterback of this team under you again, like what you'd want? He's like, I think anytime.
How do you say no?
Yeah, and obviously those two have history. They, won a Super Bowl together in Green Bay. So it's, it's pretty exciting. It's another one of those jobs filled now in the AFC North. Exciting for us as people that cover, the Bengals, just to have, this to talk about and see who, are the coaches that now Zach Taylor's going to be going up against, and now McCarthy
Coming to
and
once a year.
Yeah, and Jesse Minter now for the Ravens. So now we're just waiting on that Browns hiring process. But from what it sounds like is, their defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, the former Lions coach as well, kind of has the leading candidacy run right now. It sounds like all of their external interviews have not gone too well. I see a lot of those updates from the NFL guys that so and so has, told the Browns no thank you. So it sounds like it's been a hard job for Cleveland to hard to fill over there in Cleveland. So it'll be interesting to see what happens
surprise?
There. No, not really, unfortunately.
What's kind of interesting about this is, the Steelers have tried for years and years and years to just get over the first round playoff hump. Just win one playoff game.
Right.
And aside from a few years at Green Bay, that is not what McCarthy's known for.
Right.
In fact, it's the opposite. He struggled with Dallas to win playoff games. They won one in the 5 years that he was there out of 3 trips. So just kind of interesting that I think that's what people are pointing to when they kind of raise their eyebrow at this.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you think about
Also really old. And I don't mean that in a derogatory
McCarthy.
way. But to bring but to bring him in at the age he is.
Yeah.
Because they like longevity, the Steelers. Right. So he's in his 60s.
I was just surprised to see them honestly get rid of Tomlin too. I think I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that. I mean, he had so much success with this group for such a long time, and I think even more so though. I'm almost more surprised now with the Bills getting rid of McDermott. So I wonder where he's going to end up going too. I know we kind of been talking about.
Did you see that vacancy was just filled?
Yes,
today as well.
They just took care of the Bills, who they got. It was the Broncos pass.
Joe Brady. No, it was their offensive coordinator.
Oh, their offensive coordinator. Okay, so it was Joe Brady. I saw they were interviewing him. So if I'm McDermott, options are what? Titans, Browns.
Nope, Titans is
okay.
taken.
So not Titans. So Cardinals, Raiders, Browns.
Correct.
Raiders all day long. You have Alshon Jeanty, a really good running back. Is Max Crosby coming back next year? Do we know? Is that
TBD?
TBD, right? So you're going to have Fernando Mendoza, a young quarterback who plays like Josh Allen, and McDermott had enough success with Allen. If I'm McDermott, I'm like, yes, please, Raiders. And if I'm the Raiders, I'm like, no brainer, duh. Not the Browns, no. Not the Cardinals. Raiders seems like a great fit for him, just personnel-wise. Just, the fact that they are going to very likely get Mendoza, you have to think that's a pretty good pairing. I mean, Mendoza, McDermott makes sense.
I don't know. He's a defensive head coach, so.
Well, I know. It's just in the sense of it seems like McDermott and Allen had a really good relationship, and obviously, like you mentioned, I'm obviously, he was defensive side, but in terms of just the culture that he brings and his persona.
It's going to be about his hire, really,
right.
when it comes to
right.
Jeanty and Mendoza.
From an
it's
offensive
going to come from his OC
perspective,
hire.
for sure. I just think when and this is when you bring in a head coach, I mean, just for outside of the X's and O's of, defense or offense, but I just think, a coach like that knows how to just, provide a culture and provide a platform for their young players
to make the playoffs. That's what the Bills got rid of him for, was they couldn't advance in the playoffs. They would just make it.
Make the playoffs.
The Raiders would love to just make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So.
To me, I was just thinking, to me, that's if I was McDermott and I was the Raiders, obviously I don't know what else is going on behind the scenes, but to me that sounds like a really good pairing. But yeah, crazy. The coaching carousel has gone on pretty wild. We saw Ohio State making moves as well, and I guess that's what our transition on into is next right here. So Arthur Smith hired by the Buckeyes as the next offensive coordinator. So last year, Ryan Day dips into the pool of pro coaches, if you will, bringing in Matt Patricia to be the defensive coordinator, and now goes back into the kind of the NFL coaching circle, brings in Arthur Smith, former Titans, and obviously most recently the Steelers OC, was also the head coach of the Falcons for a minute there, and that didn't go too well. Kind of forced out of there pretty quickly. But, I mean, looking at what you have here, 15th in the league in offense overall, the Steelers under him, averaging 23.4 points a game. They weren't, overly crazy. I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf, and Kenneth Gainwell kind of stepped up as a pretty good back for them, too, alongside Jalen Warren. So they had some pretty good weapons, did what he could with those guys. Won the AFC
Didn't
North.
Feel like much flair.
No.
Not
kind of
much.
just, their games were never won in, like, oh my gosh, the Steelers put up 50.
Vertical threat.
Yeah, right. So
I saw Aaron Rodgers, and it might just be just because I watch more of it, but I feel like I saw Aaron Rodgers just doing more pitches than ever before.
A lot of check downs.
I mean shovel passes
Oh,
and
yeah.
pitches. Like
Yeah.
every other play, it felt like.
I'm wondering, it's the pulse of Ohio State fans doesn't seem to be like overly excited, but they also seem like, well, it worked. Like Patricia wasn't very good in the NFL, and the Buckeyes again had a top-ranked defense, and it seemed like everything worked great there. Obviously, a ton of great talent, but so obviously gonna have to give Smith a chance. He's got every great weapon in the country at his disposal. I mean, you got Jeremiah Smith,
Bo Jackson,
All-American wide receiver, likely going to be a Heisman contender this year. Recent Heisman contender, the quarterback, Julian Sandback. Bo Jackson, great young running back, and a ton of weapons all over the field, especially in the wide receiver room. So he should have no problems with the talent that he has to coordinate for this year. So interesting hire for the Buckeyes, but Ryan Day clearly sees something in him that he saw in Patricia, and it worked out well for that. So pretty cool. Well, we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are jumping, of course, right into basketball, college hoops. Man, it's been an exciting season to talk about for a couple of our teams here, or really all three of our teams between Dayton, Wright State, and Miami, but really the Red Hawks.
Until the last 7 days.
For the Flyers.
It was electric for all three.
That's true.
A couple falters in the last 7 days, but we'll touch on that.
Miami
right
kind
after
of
the break.
carrying the excitement load. We'll get into the Red Hawks, Flyers, and Raiders coming up right here after the break on 2 Sports Overtime.
Welcome back to 2 Sports Overtime. We're going to transition here to talk about some college hoops, and we're going to start not with the most exciting team right now, but we're going to start with Dayton because they are our closest and our biggest fan base here locally in the Miami Valley. And where do we begin? Okay, so they went on the road a week ago, had a whole week to spend in Philadelphia, Wednesday and Saturday, taking on LaSalle and St. Joseph's. And essentially, if you would look on Twitter, what you would think from the fan base is that the season ended on Wednesday when they lost to LaSalle on the road.
Yeah, really.
67-64. It was a brutal game to watch. 3 threes made.
Not good. I mean, out of 23, too.
And they had so many opportunities late to tie the game or take the lead with a single 3. And they lost by 3.
They went down by as many as 25 in the first half. That should tell you everything you need to know.
And they came all the way back, and it was like, all right, here we go. They got a chance. Javon Bennett make 1 3 at the end. Deshane Montgomery make 1 3 at the end, and it bricked left and right. I mean, it was there. It was there for them to take.
Yeah.
So that happens on Wednesday, 13% shooting from 3. Fast forward to Saturday, they stay in Philly for the week, and then they come out and they lose again in Philadelphia, this time to St. Joseph's, 81-74. Now, luckily, Bennett and Montgomery did bounce back a little bit. They had 18 and 19 points, respectively. Keontae Jones eclipsed 1,000 career points. And it was a super cool moment, that emphatic tomahawk dump right out of halftime.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool way for him to reach 1,000 points, but just sloppy. They turned the ball over 15 times in the game. And now, after their 5-0 start in conference play, they lose back-to-back. Any at-large hopes are gone.
Oh, 100%.
And now you pretty much have to be perfect the rest of the... It's like almost carbon copy of last year.
Yep.
You have to be perfect the rest of the way out now, try to get a good seeding in the tournament and do something in the tournament. You're forced to have your entire season come down to that week in March.
It's tough. It's I know Flyer fans expect, every game, road or home, to be win. They kind of see themselves, and to an extent they are. Dayton has been essentially, the team in the A-10 when you just look at, in terms of the program, the crowd, the arena,
the investment, the fan
right,
base, the brand,
the athletes, the high-profile athletes that they get to play for. You meant the brand, exactly. Host side of the First Four. I mean, Dayton is everything that any place would want to be, and Flyer fans rightfully see themselves as that. Like we always joke, if at home, if Dayton knocked off like the number one team, they probably just wouldn't even rush the court because they'd go, well, we expected to win that game, and that is just how the Dayton fans view their team, and that's not a bad thing. The problem is it's okay to have that expectation, but they haven't won an A-10 tournament title since 2003. That is their only A-10 tournament title ever. So it's hard to try to put your team on this pedestal of, owning the A-10.
Who knows what would have happened in 2020, though, Joey?
I know. And that's what anybody, 2020. But, that's a lot of if, hypothetical. However, that team, Obi-Top in 2020, was fantastic. Very likely they win. They were an at-large bid anyways, as the number 3 team in the country. Obviously, Flyer fans would love to have seen that 2020 season play out. Darn you, COVID. But now we are in 2026, and this team has shown they're capable of winning, especially in games like this. But when you start so flat, struggle so much with giving up the ball, not making your shots, it is difficult to, view this group as, like always like the team in the A-10, the team in the A-10, when it doesn't seem like they have a ton to show for. Now, all their goals are still in front of them, and of course, any fan base, they'll maybe overreact a little bit to, a loss or two.
Well,
2 bad losses in a row are concerning.
Part of it is just the pattern.
Yes, the way in which they're
see the
losing.
way that this is going because
100%.
It's gone this way so many times before, and I think that's why they feel even though all the goals are still in front of them, it's really on Dayton to prove them wrong.
Correct.
Because this does continue to happen year after year.
Right.
Where they slip up, usually on the road in Philadelphia.
So tough.
They have a strong non-con, a strong start to conference. They slip up on the road in Philadelphia. They get, a first round or a 2-round bye in the A-10 tournament, and then they either lose in the first or second round of the A-10 tournament, don't make the tournament, or go to the NIT. Yeah. So they the fans are seeing the pattern of this, and that's
rough.
That's why there's the feeling of it's over.
Yeah, and of course a lot of the blame going to, Anthony Grant and his play style and, his,
choices of who they have in.
Yeah, and when they call timeouts and allowing teams to go on certain runs or, hey, this was an issue last game. Why is it an issue again? Is that a coaching thing? But then, there's all kinds of fans that, say, well, is Anthony Grant out there shooting the 3 ball? Well, no, but this and that. So there's so many counterpoints to it. Unfortunately, a lot of the, weight will come down on Grant as the coach. Of course, from the fans, but
one of the question marks I've seen,
it's just a tough,
at least this past week, is why are we starting Latong now?
After what we've seen from Jayon Simon.
And after what we've seen from Latong. And honestly, I'd told you this before privately, Latong's a hard watch for me.
Yeah, he's big,
he's very
obviously,
weak
but it's,
with his movements.
That's kind of the con of being 7 foot tall.
And I'm like, if he could just get just a little bit stronger, oh gosh, he would be almost unstoppable. And I've started to see that said publicly now for the first time since he's come back from injury, especially because we saw somebody who was capable of stepping in his place.
Right.
So
and he could be an impactful
player. That is a coaching decision, and that's one that
right.
I've seen come into question a lot over the last week.
Yeah, and you like to obviously see what Malcolm Thomas can do a little bit more in that role, but obviously he's been hurt. Now, what is it, 6?
He's back.
He's back now?
Yeah.
Okay. I missed the last time that did he play in that St. Joe's
Saturday.
game? Okay. That was the one I did not miss. So he's back. And he's shown as a young talent, he can play the big man position, rebound, be an effective presence down low. But yeah, you mentioned Latong. He has the opportunity, and the talent to be a very impactful player. We've seen him be able to shoot the ball as well, not just be a post player. But if
he
if he's been
loses
struggling
the ball on every take,
Yeah.
it feels like he can't come down with the rebound. When he's the tallest one out there, he's got his arms up the highest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just frustrating to watch, and I'm not even a fan.
Right. That was a big criticism of Deron Holmes, too. His site was he needs to be stronger down low, and it seemed like he really improved at that going into his final season. So, obviously, Latong, now, a couple seasons here with the Flyers, you'd like to see him, maybe be able to take that next step, get a little bit more strong underneath the basket, and be a little bit more of a presence on both sides of the ball. But it has been encouraging to see what Jayon Simon's been doing too. A guy that came in kind of knowing he was going to be a bench player on this team, did not hit the portal, said he was coming back, showed a ton of loyalty, and is now kind of getting that karma back for him. So good for him to be able to step in and do what he's been doing. He's honestly been kind of the glue holding a little bit of this team together when they are playing really poorly. Obviously, we're still seeing guys like Keontae and Deshane and Javon still play well, but it just seems like they've tapered off a little bit, and this is not the time you want to be doing that when you're at the heart of your conference schedule. So, obviously, a big one. Well, as of this recording, we're speaking to you. This is Tuesday, but it is obviously this is running on Wednesday, so they are playing Tuesday night. Would have already played against Archie Miller, former Dayton coach, Rhode Island Rams coming into town. So we'll see if they can bounce back. They obviously.
Whoa, we might have something to say about Archie Miller here in a second. Let's run through. Do you want to run through some fan tweets?
Go ahead. I know that you were looking forward to these. Here's one. Should we go to the Archie first?
Do this one.
Okay,
all right, whatever.
All right, we'll go back.
Well, in the spirit of Archie Miller, okay.
I'll go back.
Never mind. You're confusing me now.
I got click happy. Sorry.
From
go ahead.
Danny Grieve. Enough is enough. Fire Anthony Grant, but it's the picture that makes me laugh. I'm having a bad day. Not bad enough. Let's make it worse.
There's been some crazy ones out there. On to the next. We'll save the Archie for last.
Professionally Loud, which of course is a big one that's very well known on social media. This isn't good enough, man. Neil Sullivan, of course, the athletic director, and Anthony Grant need to take accountability for this program's recent failures. And this was just kind of one of a summary of several of them kind of echoing the same sentiment.
Yeah. And we could talk all day about this. We don't have time, but there's a little Facebook Dayton fan and Twitter Dayton fan rivalry happening, and it's a little bit of the seasoned crowd, Flyer faithful, the sweaters as they call them, and then the younger crowd and fandom, and they're kind of all at each other's throats. It's a shame to see, but kind of the state of Flyer basketball right now.
And then speaking of Archie Miller, from @AdamG1224, I'm okay with other fans not really caring if UD wins or not. Be a fan how you choose to be a fan, but let's reframe something. And this is on the topic of what we were just talking about too. 2020 was 6 years ago. That was Archie Miller's entire tenure. In 6 years of Archie, they had 4 tournament bids, 1 Elite 8, 5 tournament wins, and 2 Atlantic 10 titles. Of course, those are regular season titles, but still.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's tough. It's you'd like to see them be able to play better on the road and not just be able to win at home. Obviously, the loss to Liberty at home was a little shocking because it was 31, 32 straight home games they hadn't lost. So, and they say, oh, Archie winning it, lost these road games and things like that. So obviously there's some stats to back it up a little bit there. But I mean, the Flyers are going to hopefully try to just dig themselves out of this little bad groove that they're in. And, it starts with trying to beat your former coach. And that's always a big deal when Archie comes back to Dayton, and they beat him last time he was here. At home, and there's a lot of respect there, but at the same time, you kind of want to take care of the guy that was in those shoes before. That's always satisfying. So I'll let you wrap it up here with go ahead with Miami, and maybe we'll have time to mention Wright State.
Let's transition to the hottest team in the country, arguably right now, not named Arizona or Nebraska, is Miami, Ohio. The Redhawks continue to roll. They are now 20-0 at the time of this recording without knowing the result of Tuesday night's game, and moved up to number 24 in the AP poll after making their AP poll debut for the first time in 26 years the week prior at number 25. They moved up after yet another heart attack, thrilling victory on the road at Kent State.
Cardiac Hawks.
In overtime.
Crazy.
I mean, what a finish for them to be able to come back in those final moments and just have another, what I am calling them now, March moment. They have had so many March moments in January alone. And like we said, it's just January. So just imagine what this team might be capable of and kind of the sweetheart that they could end up being once it gets to March.
Yeah. No, it's been so exciting to watch. One of just 3 unbeaten teams left. The ranking, all the feels of what was happening in Oxford in 1999 with Wally Serbiak and, seeing him, enjoy watching his old team and alma mater as well. And Travis Steele is just such a fun guy. He's been on, obviously, in a little bit of now the national spotlight on some interviews more lately. And, talking about wearing his Skyline Chili shirt underneath his quarter zip as a good luck charm. I mean, there's just everything about this team has just been so fun to follow and watch. And you got a chance to be at this game. Look at the swim team. We talked about them before. So pretty cool to see what they've been doing and exciting to see where they continue to go. And we saw a little bit of history too. This will be the first time, obviously, as Kayler just mentioned on playing on Tuesday against UMass, but that'll be the first time that Miami, as a ranked team, hosted a game inside Millett Hall because it was built in 1968. And I guess in 99, it must have been later in the year that they were ranked and didn't get a chance to play at home with Wally Serbiak. So pretty cool there. And we'll see if they can. It
sounds like that one.
Make it 21-0.
That season must have been pretty similar because that was also an at-large bid season.
Yeah.
And so it just took a long time for the nation to take notice of them, as it did here. It took 12? No, 12's probably too many. Probably 10 weeks into the season before
just about.
They got into the national polls. So just been really exciting to follow. We can't wait to keep following this team. Like I said, at the time of this recording, they are one of 3 undefeated teams. That could change tonight with both Nebraska and Miami playing, but we'll keep you updated on that. That game is on Tuesday night, as we mentioned, but looking ahead to Saturday's game, because that's what will be ahead of this, they're hosting NIU at 3:30. And how about this? They are starting to bring back all the legends because of this run that they're on. They're bringing back Ron Harper, I believe from the 80s was when he was there. Mm-hmm. And they're giving away 1,500 jerseys to the students.
That's awesome.
So pretty cool to see kind of the alumni get involved. And like we said with Wally Serbiak, and he's been on national TV, trying to bump up his Red Hawks, and love to see it. But quickly, we'll move on to Wright State just before we go. They got back in the win column on Saturday, defeating Northern Kentucky 88-80. That was a win after their 7-game win streak had been snapped on Wednesday. That's why we said last week was just kind of a rough week for our teams here locally, minus Miami. So they lost on Wednesday to Cleveland State, come back, turn around, win on Saturday against Northern Kentucky. Michael Amari Bay had a monster day. He had a double-double, 24 points, 11 rebounds. Michael Cooper continuing to be a steady force. He added another 21 points. Wright State is now 13-8 overall, 8-2 in the Horizon League, and they are still in first place in the conference.
Pretty cool to see what Clint Sargent's doing in his first year. After Scott Nagy departed, weren't sure what we were going to see, and
nice Archdeacon in the background eating with an apron.
Attaboy, Arch. Legend. Yeah, as you mentioned, Wright State, still holding that first place. That's so funny. Wright State.
It was spaghetti day, so we had to, have an apron, protect the sweater vest.
There's always good food. You never know what you're going to get at the Nutter Center. So, yeah, cool to see what the Raiders are doing, hitting the portal, bringing in talent. And, they were really on a roll with that 7-game win streak. So, all the time in the world now to start another one. So, we'll be following both, or I should say all 3 now, since we get to cover Miami more than we ever have this year. Red Hawks, Flyers, Raiders, all the basketball action for you. Then, of course, still keeping an eye on all things football offseason, both for Ohio State as well as NFL coaching carousels. That all continues, and I know we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl probably coming up here soon. Super Bowl 60 set. You can catch that game on NBC. WDTN carrying that one Sunday, February 8th. Patriots Seahawks rematch of 2015 Super Bowl 59. So I'm sure we'll get into more about those fun connections there. But for now, we will say goodbye for another edition of Two Sports Overtime. That's Kayler Smith. I'm Joey DiBardino. Have a good one. We'll see you right here next week.